Hi, just a quick one. If you're watching this in the week of the 23rd of November, Feelgrounds are running their Black Friday or Black Week of sales. You can get a discount off all of their products. I'll put a link in the description box below if you want to check that out. Hope you enjoy the review. Catch you soon. So I've been exploring barefooting and various minimalist shoes for probably about 10 years now. One of the things I've struggled with the most is finding a casual everyday shoe that's minimalist, light, and wide enough for my hobbit-like feet. So most of the time I was just wearing my tatty old minimalist trainers with nice breathable air vents in the side for training and casual and everything in between. So that changed earlier this year when I discovered Feelgrounds. So I'm going to do a review in this video of their 3 current models, and feel free to stick around to the end because I'll do kind of a roundup and suggest which one I think is most suitable based on different situations. Full disclosure, I bought the Highrise and the original model, but Feelgrounds were kind enough to send me the Droptop version in order to do this kind of comparison review. Because they're a brand that I've really benefited from and I use their shoes on a daily basis, I've partnered with Feelgrounds as an affiliate. So if you do make a purchase using the link in the description, then I do get a small commission at no extra cost to you. Again, I'll only ever partner with a brand that I trust and I use their products on a regular basis and I've benefited from them. So with that out of the way, let's get cracking with the review. So let's start with the first shoe that Feelgrounds produced, the originals. I've got them here in the white. So these are actually the mesh version. So they do 2 different models, mesh and knit. So the mesh is their really light, breathable fabric. You didn't ask for this information, but I tend towards quite sweaty feet, which isn't ideal. And in the past, I've had issues like trench foot sort of stuff. So for me, breathability is quite important, particularly during the summer. So these are very breathable, which is nice. Toe box is also really nice and wide. As you can see, it's not tapered around the big toe like most standard shoes, so your toes are not crunched in. They're allowed to spread out wide and actually function as toes and support your foot. My feet are especially wide and I don't have any problems with any of the Feelgrounds models. So they're really light and they are 0 drop, so no difference between the heel and the toe in terms of height, which you'd expect from a kind of a barefoot or minimalist shoe. The sole is 5mm and it's really flexible, so you can roll them up into a ball quite easily, and they kind of move across the foot as well quite nicely, which is what you're looking for really. You don't want a really stiff sole ideally if you're looking to kind of mimic being barefoot. So your foot is allowed to behave like a foot, and there's plenty of sensory feedback with the floor as well, which is nice. They fit true to size, so I'm sort of an 8.5 to 9 UK size, and that translates to a 43, I believe. Yeah, 43 euro in the Feelgrounds sizing. Yeah, and they fit well. They also look really nice. There are barefoot shoes, minimalist shoes that I've worn in the past that you don't get that much choice in terms of style. That's not something that I'm massively concerned with, or I haven't been in the past, but it is nice to be able to wear something that just looks quite casual, and it's not like these garish colours and weird shapes. They actually kind of look just like normal shoes. So I've got them in the mesh. You can actually get these in the knit fabric too, which I'll talk a little bit more about with the other shoes, but that's essentially a tighter knit, tighter woven fabric that's a bit more water resistant. So I wore these pretty much all summer on just walks around and about. I did take them out on a run once and they performed okay, but I did get a little bit of kind of abrasion on like the arch of my foot. So they could work well for running, but I would stick to using them for kind of everyday use. They could work for training as well, actually, for strength training, because they're flat, or just general like movement training. But I stick to them for kind of just casual wear and then use other minimalist trainers for training or running or whatever. Next we have the Feelgrounds Highrise, which is kind of this more like above the ankle shoe, technical term. So what really interested me about these in particular was that they looked like a fairly smart casual shoe. I did have an old leathery shoe that looked similar to these, but obviously they were quite narrow in the toe, so they weren't that suitable. So these look a bit like them, but they're also light, minimalist, and water repellent, water resistant to a degree as well. So as I touched on, I've not really had many issues finding a shoe for training and just wearing in the summer. I'd usually be in a pair of Merrells or Barefoot, but during the autumn, winter, spring, or basically if it rained, then my feet would get soaking and I'd end up with issues again with the recurring foot stuff. And I'm not like the most fashion conscious person, but I was basically wearing the same old red, tatty, smelly shoes for training and then going out for a walk, like to town or whatever. So I did try other casual barefoot brands, and I found that most of them were too stiff, or I just couldn't get the fit. They didn't have enough room in the toe box. There were just a few little bits that I couldn't justify spending that amount of money to not really have something that was going to benefit me or last. So the Highrise actually solved all of these issues at once. They provided that kind of protection from the rain. They are flexible. They've got that wide toe box, zero drop. They're really lightweight and they feel close to being barefoot. And yeah, I think they look quite nice as well. The mesh fabric too is really comfortable. I'd go as far as saying they're the most comfortable shoes I've ever worn. It's got a little bit of a stretch to it, so it really allows your foot to move around, and yeah, it allows your toes to stretch out. Again, they're wide, light, zero drop, and true to size as well. One thing I was initially concerned about was the ankle support going to provide too much support, but that's not an issue at all. They're really light and flexible around the ankle, so your ankle can move freely. The water resistance is excellent as well. They hold up really well out in light to heavy rain and walking through wet grass as well. If you get a combination of like absolutely pissing it down and wet grass, then you might get a little bit wet, but that's kind of to be expected. You can actually reapply a waterproofing spray. That's not something I've had to do yet, and I've had them since I think February or March. On a side note, I'm excited for the release of the Patrol winter boots that Feelgrounds are making. I think they come out in January 2021, I think is the planned release date. They're actually available for pre-order, which I'll link them down below. They're going to be fully weatherproof and waterproof, so useful for going out on hikes and longer adventures in the rain. So yeah, feel free to check them out using the link down below. One thing to consider with the knit design is because they are water resistant and it's kind of more of a tightly woven fabric, they are slightly less breathable than the mesh. They're still breathable, but you're not getting the same ventilation as you are with the kind of the bigger holes in the mesh. So again, I tend towards sweaty feet and I've not had any issues with the knit, but it's just something you might want to consider. So the knit is maybe better for sort of autumn, winter, and then the mesh maybe a little bit better for warmer, drier summer days. Last but not least, we have the Feelgrounds Droptop. So this is the one that Feelgrounds kindly sent to me. So I've not worn these out and about quite as much as the others, but I do like this sort of espadrille-esque design. You just kind of slip them on. My feet got too wide for a similar style shoe that I used to wear. So yeah, these were a welcome addition and I appreciate them being sent. So I've got these in the knit, similar to the drop top. So it's this really comfortable, stretchy fabric. Just like the other models, they've got the same thin, flexible sole, wide toe box, zero drop, all that good stuff. There's no insole either. I should have mentioned that in any of the models. Just double checking. Yes, there's no insole. You could put an insole in if you really want to, if you want to make them thicker. But yeah, you get great sensory feedback between the bottom of your foot and the floor. This is the gum graphite model, which I really like. I think it looks quite smart, and you can get them in a range of different styles as well. These also come in the mesh, just like the originals. Sizing wise, I think they're true to size, but they're ever so slightly bigger than the other models. I think it's because you can't secure them with laces. They still fit me fine, and I've actually got some like ankle socks. These like shallow socks that you can wear with them that you can't actually see. So yeah, that's always an option too. I've worn them barefoot a few times as well, and they're completely fine. Like the Highrise, these are water resistant. If you're going to be wearing them though in the summer mainly, then there's also the option for the mesh model that's a little bit more breathable. So in terms of pricing, the Feelgrounds models range from around £89 up to £116, depending on the model that you are looking for. This might seem a little pricey compared to some other shoes, particularly kind of ones you can get on the high street or online. But this is kind of largely down to the fact that barefoot shoes are not as popular or widely produced as standard shoes. Feelgrounds are still a relatively new small company, so they're not going to be able to mass produce shoes like, say, Primark. There's also a lot of thought that goes into making a shoe that has all these barefoot friendly features, but then still looks like a normal, casual, everyday shoe. It's not easy to get kind of the wide toe box, the zero drop, and the flexible sole, and make them look nice as well. And all that being said, I know that Feelgrounds have made a conscious effort to lower their price as they've grown as a company. I know they knocked some money off the originals a few months ago, and every interaction I've had with them has been positive. They've been really nice to deal with. So in summary, which Feelgrounds shoe is right for you? It really depends. So the original is a very versatile shoe. It's ideal for casual wearing in dry conditions, and it could also work pretty well as a strength training shoe because it is thin, wide. If you're looking for something that looks a bit smarter, then the Highrise is a good option too. There's also the fact that they are water resistant, and I don't know what regulations are like in work, but you might be able to get away with this as kind of a smart casual shoe in work and just kind of a everyday streetwear shoe. It's a nice versatile one. They're all versatile. Then there's the drop tops. Again, very versatile, ideal for the spring and summer. And then I'm also told that they could work well as like a more of a smart casual shoe wearing to work or more fancy events. I'm not the authority on that, but yeah, I think they look really smart, and they could work equally well on the beach or like on holiday as they could just going out for some food. It's my expert opinion. So overall, it's hard to pick a clear winner. It depends on your situation, I suppose. They're all nice and they're wide and thin and flexible, zero drop, all that good stuff. If I had to pick one, I'd probably say the originals for me are the most versatile because you can go for the mesh or the knit option and you can tie them up with laces, so they're good for traveling and that sort of thing. They're all great, so if you're after any, then I'd just pick ones that you like the look of most and would fit in with your lifestyle. I'm not going to tell you what to do. So I hope this video was useful. You can check the links down below if you're interested in picking up a pair of Feelgrounds. There's also the link to pre-order the patrol boots if that's something you're interested in. I think they've got a discount on at the moment still. So let me know if you've got any questions about the shoes, about life in general. I'll probably answer them down in the comment section. Hope you have a healthy, heroic week. I hope you're staying safe, and yeah, catch you soon.